Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman.
The big
Classic
cheese,
like
the
Dom
Super
singing.
Bowl.
Blasting like bombs.
We're in Las Vegas. Man,
A lot of
this is gonna be
gambling
really.
going on.
Oh, good Lord! I bet it's record numbers.
Yeah, huge for the NFL. They're probably yeah. Never mind. They did plan this. Yeah, what am I thinking? They did plan this. Yeah, of course. Of course, when they open up sports betting, the Super Bowl is in Vegas, right? Okay, yeah. I was gonna say that like that's some crazy thing. That's just obvious.
Part of the
That's just obvious.
script. It's part of the script.
Is it? Oh, just magically turns out they picked Las Vegas, gambling center of the world. You're telling me that like they didn't have? They're in meetings. They're like, where should we put the Super Bowl? Oh, Vegas. I like it.
Okay. Yeah, man. I've been thinking about this all week, and I've been trying not to think about it. Not like I don't want to like analyze it, but just because I'm like, I know I'll overthink it.
Yeah.
And I know the answer. I already know the answer, and I don't want to overthink it. Like, and talk myself into like, well, but this could happen. And then Chiefs are going to win another Super Bowl. Welcome. Third ring for Patrick Mahomes with a Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, I don't want to overthink it because this is just too simple for me. Like, the 49ers are the better team, but we saw the weakness. We saw the ability, sounds weird, but the ability to go down 17. We also saw the ability for them to storm back. Patrick Mahomes is not going to allow that to happen. Simply put, he's just, when the moment comes, pause, he will rise, pause.
Oh my God.
The other thing I think that this game could get out of hand quick is if you get Brock Purdy doing his happy dance or happy feet. That was crazy.
What's his happy dance?
I don't know. But if you get Brock Purdy in happy feet mode where he's like running around, eyes as big as Oreos, just chucking the ball like he did against the Ravens, and he had 4 interceptions, and you start dialing up pressures, 3rd and long, 3rd and behind the sticks, bottle up Christian McCaffrey. I shouldn't say bottle up, contain. And you start bringing pressure on 3rd down, Brock might get antsy. And I have a sneaking suspicion in this moment, he will not be Brock Michael Vick Purdy like he was in the NFC Championship. I don't want to overthink it. That's how I think this game is going to go. Will it be close-ish? Sure. I don't think it'll be a blowout either way, even if there's a bunch of Brock Purdy turnovers. But I don't want to overthink it. I think the Chiefs win this game.
You're not using 2 words on purpose, and I know exactly why.
What 2 words?
Game manager. Those are the 2 words you weren't
Game
using.
executive.
Game executive. Yeah, he got promoted. All right. I'm going to go through this postseason stats for both teams, and then it's going to paint a little bit of a picture to what the Super Bowl is probably going to be like. So this is important to remember. San Francisco's only played 2 games. Kansas City has played 3, right?
Sure.
I say that a lot, right?
Right. Larger sample size.
So total passing yards, Kansas City has 707. San Francisco has 503. The ones that I thought were really important. Completion percentage, Kansas City threw it 70 times out of 103 times, completed 70 of them, 68%. San Francisco threw it 70 times, completed it 43 times for 61%. The QBR rating, off of 3 games, Patrick Mahomes is rated at 100.7. Off of 2 games, Brock Purdy's rated 87.7.
You said 107?
100.7. Over 3 games. So if we're looking at just straight QBs, Patrick Mahomes has played a better postseason, right? Now,
and just for everyone else out there, just real quick, if like with QBR, for anyone who doesn't know, it's not like school where you start with 100 and you get questions wrong. You start with a 60 and you go up from there or down from there. Just to put that Just to put that in
I
your
didn't even
mind,
know
what
that.
what Patrick Mahomes has done these last 3 playoff games.
Wow. All right, now here's where it gets really interesting. This is what is different about the Chiefs compared to last year. Rushing attempts. They had 90 rushing attempts. San Francisco, whose offense is centered around Christian McCaffrey. I know people don't want to say that, right? But it kind of is. They run the ball a lot. So
We agree that their offense goes as he goes. And
yeah,
I think people who actually understand football understand that. But
yeah. So they've only rushed it 57 times. San Francisco has total yards 382 from Kansas City and then 266 from San Francisco. Just a reminder: San Francisco has only played 2 games.
right.
Per game, 127 from Kansas City, 133 for San Francisco. A
That's
whole
rushing.
game, yeah, a whole game back. They are rushing more per game than the Chiefs. And the Chiefs have 90 rushing attempts. And then now we get to defense. And then this is going to play into my point later down the line. Yards given. Kansas City has allowed 968 yards in the postseason. San Francisco has allowed 772. Right? So if there was another game, they could be more even. Passing yards on them was 629 for Kansas City. Kansas City defense gave up 629 yards. San Francisco's defense has given up 454 yards. And then for rushing, Kansas City's defense has given up 339. San Francisco's given up 318. Very similar. And then here's the kicker, though. Points per game. Kansas City's defense has only allowed 13.7 points per game. That is the second lowest. I believe the Ravens were the only one who gave up less. And then on the other side of the ball, with only 2 games played, San Francisco has given up 26 points per game. That's a huge margin right there. And then we'll go to the offense overall scoring. Per game, Kansas City scores 23.3 points per game out of 3 games. And then San Francisco scores 29 points per game off of 2 games. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at a Kansas City defense who doesn't give up any points at all, or it gives up very little points. And we're looking at a San Francisco defense who gives up a lot of points. But then when we look at these stats from Kansas City's offense, they are very low production when it comes to scoring. And it's the opposite on San Francisco. So what you have,
I would argue differently, but finish your thought.
So what you have is you have a high-powered offense, that is San Francisco, going up against a defense who doesn't give up barely any points this postseason. And then on the other side of the ball, you have a low-powered offense compared to the San Francisco 49ers, who's going up against a defense that scores a lot. So here, the only question here is, what do you believe in more? Do you believe more in Kansas City's defense stopping the 49ers, or do you believe more in Patrick Mahomes bringing it all together and throwing for 4 touchdowns against a defense who's given up 26 points per game in 2 games? Me personally, what I think is going to edge it out is San Francisco's offensive side of the ball. I think they're going to edge it out because the main thing is
edge it out.
Yeah, the main thing that you see when you watch these games is Kansas City drives the ball into the red zone, right? San Francisco does not do that. San Francisco scores off of big plays a lot more. So I think the Kansas City defense, who gives up less points, I think they're personally, in my opinion, a great red zone defense. But if you look at the yards gained, they've given up 968 yards. That's almost 1,000 yards in 3 games they've given up. So they allow a lot of yards, but then in the red zone, they're very good. So I think the matchup leans towards the 49ers, to where they're not going to be in the red zone that much. They're going to have these big breakaway plays and score. That's what I'm thinking. If you wanted to add a third game off of the averages for San Francisco, they would be outscoring the Chiefs if you added a third game.
When I hear those stats, all those, if you add another game in, all those sound pretty, like, we're talking about like of 100%, it sounds like a 53-57 split. Like most of those
Yeah,
stats
it's
sound pretty down the middle.
well,
What for me, the part that I disagree about is I think part of the reason why the Chiefs look low powered in
just
this
low scoring.
postseason is because they're not on the field a lot. They're not like they're either scoring or they're off the field. They're not doing these. You don't see them drive to the red zone and then their engine sputter within 15,
Mm-hmm.
within 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're either getting there, they're either taking it to the promised land or they're 3 and out. And so when you look at those numbers for 3 games, they seem low powered. Their offense doesn't seem that high powered. Which is also why their defense is having to gives up so many yards because they're on the field a ton. Because you see Kansas City have these relatively short drives. We're talking 4 or 5 minutes where it's a, 6, 8 play drive. And, you get 2 chunk plays from Travis Kelce, you get a chunk run from Pacheco, and then next thing you know, you're on the 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
do you believe more in San Francisco's offense being able to get back on the saddle and play at an elite level that they have done all season? Or do you believe more in the Chiefs offense to play at an elite level? That's just the basics because
Chiefs,
the Chiefs.
Chiefs. This is
The pro
and it's not Brock Purdy. The
Mhm.
reason I brought up the turnovers because that could be a problem.
the
But there have been games where Brock Purdy's played fine and they still lost games because their guys were Debo was missing or Kittle was missing, whatever. Um, I think that Christian McCaffrey's their only real consistency, and everyone else is, I don't know. Go ahead.
I think that's crazy. But it just comes down
You
to
think
this.
that's crazy? You made that point earlier in the year. We'll come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back
Go
to it.
ahead.
The only main points here is that the Chiefs haven't scored a lot this postseason, and that has been the opposite for the 49ers. Even though they've looked not the same in the first half for both of those games, they still put up 26 points per game compared to 13.7 on the Chiefs side, right? So you have a really great defense for the Chiefs, but you also have an offense that even when they haven't looked their best, which this postseason they have not looked their best, they're still putting up 26 points per game.
I would argue though that the Niners have not played the same caliber teams the Chiefs have played though. Like
I could see it with the Packers.
Obviously the Lions are the closest thing, but even if you put the Lions against, I wouldn't have picked the Lions over the Bills. I would have picked the Lions over the Dolphins, but I wouldn't have picked the Lions over the Bills, and I certainly wouldn't have picked the Lions over the Ravens. So I don't
Really,
think no. Are you insane?
I think you're insane with that take.
Bro,
I think you're thinking of.
the Lions got munched this year by the Ravens. Beat up.
Oh, I thought you were saying that the Lions were going to beat the Ravens. That's my bad.
No.
That's
No,
my
no,
bad.
no.
My bad.
I was about to say, bro, you're crazy. Your own team? No. Okay.
I
We're on the
misheard
same
you.
page.
Yeah.
We're on the same page. No. I would the teams that the teams and specifically defenses that the Chiefs have played this postseason are better than certainly the Packers in my mind.
Yeah, it's just
And
they're
like
super
the
young.
Niners have played down to the level of the teams they've played,
Mhm.
and the Chiefs have, I wouldn't
Risen
say
to the
played,
occasion.
they've risen to the occasion, not like spectacularly, but they've
Yeah.
gotten the job done.
Yeah.
And so for me, I don't like it because like I said, the Niners have to come play football in this game. This is the Chiefs' game to lose. And the Niners have limped through this postseason. When you really look at it, their 2 games, they only had to play 2 games to get here, but both games were nail biters. Both games were not comfy. Like,
True.
so if you come into it with that mentality of like, well, we came back down. This is not Jordan Love. This is not Jared Goff. This is not Dan Campbell. This is not what's his name? The Packers head coach. This is not the same thing. You're not dealing with the same animal. If you want to come into this game thinking we can come back from down 17, we can lead the game and try and front run. No, you can't. This is not the same animal. You've not played him. You do not know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah,
and I don't like that for the Niners with the way they've played in this postseason.
The only I agree with you. The Chiefs defense allowing only 13 points per game is outstanding. The problem is they've almost allowed 1,000 yards wise. And you have a team that is yak monsters, rack monsters going up against them. Is that
did they put the ball in the end zone or not? And you've also got a rookie kicker that missed a big one to start the game off against the Lions.
The 49ers have put the ball in the end zone. They've scored 26 points per game. And if they played a third game, that could have even been a higher number. It could also have been lower. But
that's what they've had to do. I know this sounds dumb because obviously you have to have more points if you're going to win, but they've had to do that to win. In the Chiefs' case, granted, their defense has been the carrying factor.
Their defense
this whole year,
outstanding.
Yeah, the whole year, the defense has won them games a lot of the year, but the Chiefs haven't had to be in they're not shootouts. They're, the Bills game was close. All the games have been close, but they haven't needed to be in shootouts. I just think it's a different. I think it's a whole different animal.
Here's the thing. If the 49ers win, it will be because of Brock Purdy. Because when we look at that 968 yards, 629 of those were passing yards. So the Chiefs are great at stopping the run. But in this postseason, they've given up 300 plus more yards to the passing game. So if the 49ers are going to win, this will be the flipping moment where the entire internet and all these big commentators go, hey, I was right. Brock Purdy's the best quarterback in the league. Right? So it will be up to Brock Purdy to perform.
I don't know. The other thing I don't love about the Niners is, like I said, like we've talked about, Christian McCaffrey, they go as Christian McCaffrey goes, and I stand by my statement that he's their only consistency. Like, Brock is good, but Brock's good is measured by who catches the ball, right?
Yeah.
So Christian McCaffrey is, yes, the O-line, he's relying on the O-line, but he has more control, I feel like. Debo's always nicked up in big games. He's always got something to whine about. Like, that, we don't talk about that enough. We'll come back to that, but dude is one of the biggest whiners I've ever heard. I'm so tired. Like, hearing him on social media, oh my gosh. Guy just me all the time.
I will say this. Cam Newton doubled down on his take that Brock Purdy's a game manager. But he made it very clear that
go ahead.
Brock Purdy's a game manager. But he made it very clear that he doesn't think Brock Purdy's bad at all. And he did make a great point that if you take in the entire San Francisco 49ers team, he is not the best player on that team. You cannot be a game changer not being the best player on that team. I agree with that. I think if we look at the old Lions, right? Who is a game changer? It was Megatron. Megatron was the game changer. Does that mean Matthew Stafford was bad at all? No. But when it came down to it, Megatron was the one who was impacting the game. He was changing the flows of games. Same way that Christian McCaffrey does. He changes the flow of the game. Probably won't put that clip out because we're going to get hate for it, but the other thing is we have Snead on the other side of the ball, but you have Debo.
I'm so interested to see where they put him. I'm so interested to see where they put him.
But yeah, because you have so many options.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Because that's going to be, obviously that's the matchup. But if they go, if Spags says, I'm putting Snead over here one-on-one, beat me. Beat me. We're going to beat me. We're going to cover everyone else. We're going to do our due diligence. I'm going to put Snead over here one-on-one, beat me, Brock. Do it. I think that is going to, if they do that, it's going to be so fun to watch. It's going to be super interesting. No matter where Snead is on the field, it's a Super Bowl. He's going to be doing the most. Again, if Debo's nicked up, there's only so much 3rd and Juwan. There's only so much Brandon Ayuk can do. And I'm sorry, but if it's left up to Kittle to win them a Super Bowl,
You're gonna get
not sure. I'm hate me. Bro has been the most off-on switch he's been.
Others will argue that he has been doing his job, but
I don't disagree. That is his job. That 100% is his job. But he has not had to be leaned on this year like he has in the past. And coming into the Super Bowl, I don't like that moment. Feels too big for George Kittle. If that makes sense. That moment doesn't feel too big for certainly not a Debo, but again, I can just see Debo in the second quarter whining about something, and it being whining about some call or something, and then getting lit up by somebody.
Yeah,
and then because
he shows up though. Like when he starts whining, he shows up.
Yeah, I'm scared for the Niners. Don't get me wrong. If they beat Patrick, I'm elated. I'm psyched. So for everyone who's going to come for my head in the comments, please do. I love it. It fuels me. But I am excited if they do beat Patrick because it shows he's human. But I'm sorry. This is Tom Brady we're talking about. This is our Tom Brady. And you go into everyone in the media would put him down. He's done. And he would continue to show up. And for Patrick, they're not saying he's done, but he's got America and the Avengers versus him, and he's done nothing but shown up.
I'm going to take the 49ers in the Super Bowl. I think Brock Purdy's going to win NFL MVP, specifically not because how he plays. He can play great. I'm not saying that. But I do think he's also going to win NFL MVP because of the amount of hate he's gotten this season.
You don't think Lamar's going to win it?
Oh, I mean Super Bowl MVP. Sorry.
Okay, I was about to
say Super Bowl MVP.
Whoa.
I think he's going to win Super Bowl MVP. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to have a hell of a game and deserves it, or Debo. Yeah, this is a tough decision for me because I hate them both. Like I've already talked about how much I hate the 49ers, and a reason why I hate them is that as Brock Purdy's great, but it takes away everybody who wants to say that he's the main guy on that team is taken away from all of the great Pro Bowlers that they have on that team. And I get I get those guys, Nick Bosa, Kyle Juszczyk,
I gotta grab my notebook,
Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel. I get that they don't care, but me as a football fan, I want to see them get more praise than they have. And I get that they were like basically the entire offense was first team all pro. But to me, I just think when you hype up a guy who has all these great guys around him and you're saying it's all him, it takes away from them. And it really shouldn't be that way because they have been playing outstanding. The core that they have built around Brock Purdy has been outstanding. And I don't get why 49ers fans don't see that maybe it's because it's just like we're dogging on your quarterback, right? I can see why you would think that, but really all I'm saying is that you have some guys that are more important to the offense than Brock Purdy is, right? And I know that sounds bad, but Christian McCaffrey deserves more praise. He deserves more praise. He should have gotten that record. They didn't get him that record. They didn't allow him to score, right? He can score whenever he wants to. They didn't allow him to score, and it pisses me off. That's at least from me. I don't know if other people hate him, but for me, I don't hate Brock Purdy. I just like everybody else on the team more, and I want them to get more praise. And I understand that they don't care, but that's my opinion. That probably won't be a clip either.
I'm trying to follow what you're saying, but there you go. There's our Super Bowl prediction. Last thing I'll say, this is going to come down to, I'm feeling this comes down to which defense takes the ball away last in a turnover. This is going to be, I think this comes down to like 5 minutes in the fourth, and whoever forces the turnover wins this game.
Well, let's talk about QB pressures. Who's going to pressure Brock Purdy? You have Chris Jones, and then what? Right? You have Trent Lawrence. Why am I forgetting names?
Trent Williams.
You have Trent Williams on as your left tackle. They're not getting pressure from the left side of the ball, right? How are they going to get pressure on Brock Purdy? How?
Just watch.
I don't think they're going to be able to pressure Brock Purdy. I like all it is Chris Jones. That's the only guy that's going to pressure him.
I don't know. Spags has been here. He knows the moment. He knows what preparation is like for the Super Bowl, and they're going to be ready. They're going to be ready. I'm sadly riding with this guy. I hate that I am, but
Patrick the villain. Never thought we'd see the day. I thought he was going to be the pretty boy of the NFL. He seems to like it, and I love it. I think we need more villains.